Thank you for joining us in my catalog. And of course, we got the one and only Ren, the walking 10, our friend. Today, he got a short movie, possibly a song. We don't know, but we about to find out. The name Sick Boy Episode 1, The Flame of Prometheus. Let's go. Now, he has a pinned comment that we are gonna read to you guys. Because Ren. He's
Yeah.
he's never simple.
A little backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. All clothing is ethically sourced and Okio text and GOTS certified, organic and sustainable farm when it can be, and the highest quality material, as well as the painful amount of time testing and retesting samples to get perfect balance between comfort and fit. We didn't want to cut any corners or contribute to any system of exploitation, but we still managed to completely price next to brands like Adidas, etc., which is a massive win. We made some stuff I'm really proud of, and I think you're gonna love it too. Have you ever heard the story of Prometheus? Let me start somewhere near the end. After the great collapse, the sick were rounded up like rabid stray dogs. Those who were strong enough were put to work in subterranean farms. First, they will be stripped of all dignity afforded to a human. That feels like it's happening to us. 1984, baby. The book, yo, you need to read that book. That book is so mean. Then their bodies will be decontaminated and purged of the stench from the surface. In order to create an effective cog, you must first bleed it out of all autonomy and free will. He or she must stop being human and become a limb. Jeez. Those who were deemed too sick for work were discarded.
This is Sparta!
To keep them alive would only further drain the earth of vital resources. It was a kindness to let them die. Wow. The rich, the elite, of course, used it as a method of control. Of course. What you expect? Desperation is a powerful drug. Above fear, above loyalty to the party, the Dominion understood this and used it to their advantage. If you strip a man of his basic needs with enough time, it becomes a beast. Woo! If you strip a man of his basic needs with enough time, he becomes a beast. That was a bar. If you strip a man of his basic needs with enough time, he becomes a beast. Yo, yeah. Amen to that.
Now you go to basic instincts at that point, right? You have to go back to primal.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of 1984, that book 1984. I'm getting a lot of that since the Slaughterhouse, really. So
yeah, it's crazy that backstory of that story is insane, right? A world in the future where literally there's a virus out there and they're just killing off the people that are just weak, right? Because they're basically just taking up resources at that point, right? They're taking up food and clothing that we could be giving to the strong, right? And the strong are getting treated as just like a limb. You're not even a human anymore. We're going to put you to work. If you're strong enough to work, you're just going to be a working horse. And they're going to take all your rights and all your stuff that make you human. We're going to strip all that because you're not human anymore. Right? We're going to treat you like an animal. You're just a limb. You're just a muscle.
You know, some would say the pandemic, the COVID, was a attempt at that. You know, kill off the weak and the strong, keep them all in-house so you can control them with devices. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But obviously it failed because you still got free minds like me, baby. Never worry.
Shout out to Ren, though, because this is dope that in the beginning of this, he's talking about this is a clothing brand that looks like they're launching, right? And that they're doing it like, so he's jumping into the fashion world. And we talked on this channel a lot about Ren's fashion style because he wears a lot of like very old like 80s and 90s like fits a lot where it looks like it's very retro. So I'm excited to see what his clothing brand is going to kind of look like, if he's going to keep that same kind of style that he does or if he's going to come with something different.
And we know
he's perfectionist.
Oh no, absolutely. And it's probably going to be super duper fire. But I think he also like made sure he emphasized that the animals are not like animals from the slaughterhouse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Ethically,
which,
we knew he was gonna do that, right?
yeah,
Just like what
which
he
is
does with anything else. So he was gonna make sure that like if he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it right. And he's like, I even
yeah.
spent money, I spent a lot of time doing this. So you can tell he's invested in this. This is not just like he got a clothing brand and he's just trying to sell some shirts.
And
right?
it works with the concept of Slaughterhouse being before this. Money ties Slaughterhouse into this. You know what I mean? Which is crazy because Money Ties has a lot to do with it too, you know, because of the finance part of it. But this is tough. Sick Boy episode 1, The Flame of Prometheus. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Like Gaza right now.
Have you ever heard the story of Prometheus? Let me start somewhere near the end.
Slaughterhouse. That's crazy.
2084.
Hold on. 1984.
That's 60 years from now.
Yo, but you know, I keep talking about 1984. That book.
It's 2084. Yeah.
Yeah, this is 100 years later. That's crazy. Like if you read that book, you know why I keep mentioning this book. Wow, and you know this is from the slaughterhouse as well. Like this building within. Wow, this guy really knows how to like keep it going. You know what I mean?
Red might have read that book, man. He might take some inspiration from that 1984.
Yeah, that's crazy. The book was 40 years ago. This is 60 years later. From now, you know, this 100 from when the book was.
Yeah, shout out to Red, man. He making big moves right now. He's doing big stuff.
He's killing it, bro. He's absolutely killing it.
Have you ever heard the story of Prometheus? Let me start somewhere near the end. After the Great Collapse, the sick were rounded up like rabid stray dogs. Those who were strong enough were put to work in subterranean farms. First, they would be stripped of all dignity afforded to a human. Then, their bodies would be decontaminated and purged of the stench from the surface. In order to create an effective cog, you must first bleed out of all autonomy and free will. He or she must stop being human and become a limb. Those who were deemed too sick for work were discarded. To keep them alive would only further drain the earth of vital resources. It was a kindness to let them die. For years, this is how the program would run. But, like many systems that came before it, it was at the mercy of chaos theory. Chaos theory is often misunderstood. It is an oxymoron, a determined element of chaos, one that can send a whole system spiraling into mayhem. There was a prophecy. It told of a genetic anomaly, a human girl whose DNA harbored immunity to the virus, a blueprint for the future. For decades, the humans searched, setting up a global infrastructure of testing facilities in vain. With time, the candle of hope burnt down to a blackened wick. Whispers of the prophecy could still be caught traveling on the wind between members of the sick. Rivaling factions saw it as nothing but a dying superstition. Others clung to it like an amulet of hope. The rich and the elite, of course, used it as a method of control.
Of course.
Desperation is a powerful drug. Above fear, above loyalty to the party, the Dominion understood this and used it to their advantage. If you strip man of his basic needs, with enough time, he becomes a beast.
Whew.
Without shame and without morality. Primal. How ironic that the creations and brilliance of man should reduce him to his primal state. I guess with time, everything returns to source. While it was still part of protocol to test every subject for immunity to the virus, the outcome was predictable. There was no suspense. Any hope that testing would bear fruit died years ago. That is until we introduce chaos theory.
Wow. That was crazy. So everything that we read earlier was actually in the music video.
Yeah, narrated. I didn't know that, but geez, I thought it was gonna be like a song. I didn't realize that they're just gonna that they were gonna tell the story of it.
Yeah, it looks like a trailer to this movie, which is crazy. That's what it seemed like to me, like a trailer to a movie.
Well, I think it's because the sick boy. I think this is like him introducing his clothing to the world, right? So the fashion part of it, because that's what they're all getting clothing, right? When they're getting the clothing, that's all his clothing. That's the letters, and then the part on the sleeves is SI. So it's SICKBOI. So sick boy. It's spelling out sick boy, but it starts from the sleeve and goes all the way past the chest.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Sick
Okay.
boy. Yeah.
All right.
I'm looking at the clothing. He's got a whole website with the clothing.
No, because I can see it on their hands now. SI to the left.
And that's what that logo is too, that they're imprinting on him. That's the sick boy.
BOI, sick boy.
Yeah, for the clothing. So they're all.
So when you spread your wings, you can see sick boy. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. It's SICK. Yeah. B and then OI. Sick boy.
Sick boy. BOI. Yeah.
So at least I mean they're all getting treated like meat, and this is definitely a lot from the Slaughterhouse video. So I'm glad that we did the Slaughterhouse video before we did this one, because like everything, like even the torture chair that they were doing when they were running the test was
same
the same
facility,
same facility,
same program.
They doing the same vacuum stuff where they're vacuuming them, right, and then throwing them over there. At least these guys all look fresh because they all got the sick outfits, right? So at least they look clean.
The reason I keep mentioning 1984. It's crazy because it's 2024, but the book 1984 it's about a system controlling the minds, and then like little by little taking away words, like making them more and more simple so they can follow directions. And the people who don't follow directions or tries to revolt against that, they have a certain fate. You know what I mean? That ends up, it'd be the end of them basically. And everybody was in the system in there, And it's crazy how Slaughterhouse, the Flame of Prometheus, whole entire concept is like that 1984 book that I keep mentioning from Orwell, I believe. And he's from the UK as well.
Oh wow. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's definitely taking concepts for that, because like the years match and everything, like it's crazy. Like 100 years later, right? From 1984. I'm glad that we watched the Slaughterhouse video before we watched this one, because a lot of the same concepts and even the scenes are like exactly from that Slaughterhouse video, right? Yeah. Where we had the chair, you even had him getting vacuumed, like they were getting vacuum sealed and getting sent off. So a lot of that concept, I'm glad that we got to see that first, because then we get to, it's kind of a continuation story of that, right? We get to kind of see like what that fruit was of them all getting like slaughtered, and then literally packaged and brought out, and get to see the story behind it. So that was cool. But what reminded me of it when you were talking about the 1984 book, it seems like the concept is a lot like the Book of Eli, right? Because in the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington, they burn all the books, right? So they're trying to dumb everybody down, right? And then at the same time, they're all chasing to try to find the last Bible, because they're worried that if somebody finds that Bible, the teachings and stuff that's in the Bible, they don't want people to know. Exactly, right? And then it's not going to make these people sheep anymore. Right, and people are gonna have the mind of their own, and they're gonna start to take over, and that's more powerful than anything. So they were trying to keep them down, right? So it seems like that's kind of like what the same kind of concept of this and the 1984. It seemed like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep everybody dumbed down and like hidden, so you don't understand. You don't have a mind of your own, and you can't figure things out. And when you can't figure things out like that, it's easy to get control.
Yeah, it's that mind control, you know. Keep all the sheeples in line, basically, you know. And it's funny because they lined them up, and then they gave them clothing, and that's basically, in a sense, they do that in prison too. So it's like the system is the prison. You know what I mean? The system is a prison, and if you get out of line, they put you in a hole like they did with the young lady. You know, I wonder if that was Kit. Because she's been part of like a lot recently. She was part of Money Ties. She was part of Slaughterhouse. I wonder if that's her. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Because I don't think did we see her? No, we didn't see her in Slaughterhouse. We only heard her. Yeah.
And
So
I'm wondering if that girl was supposed to be the prophecy they're talking about too, right? Because they were talking about the prophecy was the girl that was the antivirus, right?
No, I think so, 100%. I think that's
because they isolated her separately, right?
Yeah,
they didn't package her up like everybody else, and so they isolated her. So it seemed like
they attempted to, but then realized they couldn't. That there was something wrong in there. I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's when they were doing the testing, right? Because they were like the testing, like from the story, they were saying that they were doing the testing. There was really no hope. They were just doing the testing just because it was routine at that point. But they weren't expecting anybody to actually have the antivirus, right? Because they've been testing so many people, and they were never finding that person that had it. So they were just like, everybody lost hope. Even like the sick people were just still trying to hold on to it. Like maybe that prophecy is true. Maybe there is somebody out there that's going to be able to save us. But like they started losing hope more and more. They kept doing these testings, and time kept going on that they would never, like even they started to seem like, oh, this is not even real. Like this person doesn't exist. And then it seemed like she might have been the one, and they all kind of were kind of surprised, and then it kind of drove her mad because now she got isolated, and they kind of like locked her in there.
Yeah, and you know, like what's crazy is like it feels like she's telling the story. You know what I mean? So like she survived to be able to tell the story of what happened, and that's very important too, because sometimes, you know, like unfortunately to the indigenous people, like especially of like the Americas, they took a lot, like not a lot, they damn near took everything from them, tradition, language, everything. And when a colonizing body takes all that from you, you have nothing left except for possibly a story or two from, you know, what's left basically. So if she's telling the story, that means that she survived it somehow, some way, to be able to, you know, like possibly bring back like the mind to the human, you know, the individual mind, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, especially because we're talking about 100 years later, right? So there's going to be a point where this is going to become normal, and people are going to forget about what happened before, right? They're going to forget that people were actual people, and that people had mind of their own, and that they were able to do all these kinds of things, and they had that free will. Like there's going to be a generation that nobody's going to remember that anymore, especially if they just keep doing this kind of stuff.
What would be even scarier is if they don't comprehend that. Do you understand what I'm saying? They've been so brainwashed that they don't comprehend what she's saying and what happened to them, you know, because they don't understand what has happened to them, type of scenario. That would be the scary part in, you know, in this world of 2084. You know, if the people that have been brainwashed and simpled down don't understand the concept of what actually has happened to them, even if she explains it to them. You know what I mean? It's like they still program. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like if someone tries to tell you you're in the Matrix, your whole life is a lie, then it's so hard to believe that. It's like, what do you mean? Like, this is basically like the Matrix, right? They're programming you to believe one certain thing, and they're trying to get you to forget about what's actually going on.
It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah,
we all know the Truman Show. That's crazy. Yo, I love Red, man. I love the conversations he sparks. I love like his knowledge. And I know that 1984 book has a lot to do with this concept of Slaughterhouse, and possibly Money Ties a little bit too, but Slaughterhouse in this one for certain. And I love the awareness. I love his unique and individual mind and his brilliance with the visuals and the music. And he's one of a kind, man. Shout out to Ren.
Yeah, even the elite people that he had when there were those guys that were like their faces were covered and they just had crowns. Yeah, I was like, man, this is crazy. It made me like hate these people too, and I'm like, dang, man, like he did a good job like depicting like these guys that were controlling the whole thing, right? The elite guys.
They had the spikes. Well, first of all, in the Slaughterhouse, if you guys go back or you go back, Remarkable, you'll see him. There's a part where he's on the ground. He has those spikes, but half of them were on his head. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the spikes, like half of them were on his actual head while he was on the ground, and they were trying to do something to him. You know what I mean? And he was going crazy. When you go back to the video, you see what I'm talking about. But what's crazy about the spikes also, and those guys with the red, it's like if you look at Slaughterhouse and they had him on the ground, it's like he was one of the elites, but then he did something wrong and they took him out. That's number one. But the spikes also sort of represent the Statue of Liberty in New York. He looks like that,
like the crown that she's wearing.
Yeah, Romans, same thing. You know, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot within that with those spikes. Because when he was on the ground, I was like, and they were torturing. I don't know what they were doing. They were holding him and they were trying to do something to him, and he was going crazy. And half of the spikes were gone. That means that they turned on one of the leaders, you know, because they were the leaders in this one. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, guys. We're gonna have to get back to Slaughterhouse, watch it piece by piece, and then watch this one more time, and then like really try to piece this entire thing together. But it's absolutely brilliant and amazing. Shout out to Rand.
I wonder if that crown thing too was like the thorn crown of Jesus, right? Because we talked about the Jesus.
That's what I thought when we was watching Slaughterhouse, when he was on the ground. That's what I was thinking about right away. I was like, oh, that's got to be that, you know.
I mean, it might have some bearing in there because like he was trying to tell the truth, right, and trying to awaken people, and that's what Jesus was doing, right? He was
as a leader. As a leader, they will take you out for certain.
Yeah.
So the entire concept goes full circle. Yeah. I'm glad we watched Slaughterhouse first as well, because
I'm gonna try to see how many more episodes of this, because this is episode 1. So how many parts do you think he's gonna give us? You think he's gonna do his normal 3 parts? Because that's usually his go-to, right? When he did like the Jenny and Screech, he usually does a lot of things in 3 parts. He did Money Games, it was 3 parts, right? So I wonder if it's gonna be 3 episodes of this, or if I'll be happy if he gives us more.
Yeah, it's tough with him because I feel like I don't think he even in this one he obviously planned it because he said episode 1 in this unfinished business. So it's this one I could see more episodes for certain because it's episode 1, and Slaughterhouse to warm it up on top of that. Yeah, this fire, man. I love where he's at. I love the work that he's putting in, and I know he had he put out a community tab, and he was talking about he was going through a lot with his health. So I hope you're doing better, Ren.
Yeah,
praying for you, man. We need you out here. You're brilliant. You know, so stay safe, man.
Everybody go support his clothing brand too, because like this is dope. This is dope to see that he's actually coming out here in the fashion world now too. So this is another way that we can support Ren, not just his music, right? If you wanna rock some of that Sick Boy gear, he's giving you, you got the website and everything on here. So this is dope. This is the craziest commercial I've ever seen. Like if this is him promoting, like he turned promotion into a whole next level with a video like this.
What I love is the fact that he calls it Sick Boy. That's so tough. And because Sick Boy also they tried to play him last time. With the Cujo beat dude. And he even had it in Slaughterhouse too. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Fire.
Absolutely. Shout out to Ren. Guys, we give you our thoughts. You give us your thoughts on the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell everybody about my catalog. Until next time.
Peace.